Welcome to my podcast. Today I'm going to talk about another case I just read, and it seems that it's on the rise. So it can be either an emergency case or a patient presented in the clinical setting and GP practice. So after you introduce yourself, as always agreed, double check the patient name, date of birth. You'll ask the patient, how can I help you? The patient might say that I'm having this sort of dullness in my tummy, I'm having like bloating. I can't just explain what's the issue exactly, but it's been a while and I don't seem to know what might be the underlying issue. You could have asked the patient, do you have any worries or concern? My patient might say that I have read a recent article or something that stated that there is this sort of small appendix thing that it's causing issue in the young people. And I'm just puzzled by the whole thing, and I thought maybe I have this issue. So what I'm talking about here is basically about the appendix, which we all know since a long time ago that it has no functionality whatsoever. And most of the cases has their appendix removed. I myself had my appendix removed long time ago. I recall that I wake up in too much agony and pain. And at that time I was in high school. And they just told me that this is acute appendix, and I was taken immediately to the theater to have it removed. And the surgeon said it was about to explode, so it was totally inflamed and swollen. So appendix cancer, though we know it's kind of rare, but recently it has surged, especially young people, and people in their 30 and 40, and even younger that age. And the kind of shifting is puzzling and needs certain answers. And a new study published in the Annual of Internal Medicine found that number of cases with cancer increased in people born after 1970, and it has tripled and quadrupled compared to the people who were born in 1940. And the rapid rise is kind of striking, notable in those people who are younger than 50, though it was like before a rare thing. However, the cause is quite unknown, but it has been linked to the lifestyle shift that we all witnessed. And it's suspected that's the sort of thing that's causing this kind of shift and rise, because as we can see, there's a lot of increase in the obesity and overweight, and it's really soaring. So obesity and overweight is known basically as any cause for any cancer, and many cancers, including the GIT, gastrointestinal tract. And also had witnessed that there's a shift in the diet as well. So it has been shifted toward more of processed food and sugary drinks and red processed meat, which all are linked to cancer, and especially the digestive system. As you can see nowadays, you go to a coffee shop, for instance, rather than having your own normal coffee that you know, you're going to find different sorts of names that you never knew about. So, for instance, Frappuccino, there's other names I can't just recall now, but if you see their main ingredient, if you just witness how they prepared, you will see that it's all frozen processed things, especially the kind of syrup that they add. All of that is really sugary and is not healthy at all. And even sometimes they will tell you, do you need a cream on the top of the coffee? I always decline. However, we need to think, is that a necessary thing? It's just all are kind of deluding and just things that just feels like you're taking something special, and it's not. It's just ruin to your own health. And if we come to the red processed meat, like luncheon, like mortadella, those kind of things, it's all not healthy food because it has a lot of sugar and salt and preservative, which is not healthy at all. And I read somewhere that they cause really GIT cancer. So this is something we need to think thoroughly about. We know basically that eating too much meat is not healthy. You can eat it, for instance, like once or twice per week, and then eat fish and white meat, and increase your salad and fruit intake. However, I know some people, they just can't live their life without red meat, and they just eat it. It's a cultural thing, it seems to be, that people like to eat big piece of meat every single day, which is not good, of course. And the other thing, it's related to the physical activity, which has been notably declined. And it has found that more people are nowadays sitting long hours in front of their screen, their computer, their mobile, social media. And even I noticed some people who are living around the corner. If they going to the shop next street, they just drive their cars to that thing. I myself drive myself, but I always have to have like walking, because you need to move your body anyway. And this is something you need to culminate in your life as a lifestyle. At least try to move between 1 to 2 miles per day, and if you increase it more, that will be a bonus to yourself and your body. And the other factor being stated, new environmental factors, like we know nowadays everything is in plastic and treated with chemicals, which were not used in the older generation. So all of that has been stated as one, more or less, one of the reasons for the appendix cancer. And we know that appendix is a finger-like projection in the right side of the ascending colon, which is in the cecum. And it's, of course, very hard to pick with the GIT screening, and usually will skip under the radar for whether it was like radiology or endoscopy. So the symptom is kind of vague and dismissive sometimes. Patient might have bloating, like we know, and ovarian cancer. Usually the patient will have bloating, swelling, mild abdominal or vague abdominal pain. And I might notice there is some sort of change in their bowel habit. However, there is no routine test to be applicable in finding out about appendix cancer, and it's very difficult to visualize under the standard imaging or endoscopy, as I stated. So moving forward, and we know that in our GIT we have certain bacteria which is called gut microbiome, which is the good bacteria that we need in our body anyway. So, and it lives with us. So if there is any disturbance to this gut microbiome, whether it was genetic or lifestyle or environmental, all of that will lead to, of course, certain symptoms. I recall once my GP gave me Oriastat for weight loss, and it just caused me too much diarrhea, and it was really stingy and floating, and it's really horrible. And I just took it for a little while, but what I noticed that nowadays, and I know it's related to the gut microbiome and my normal bacteria, it has been disturbed and never recovered. So whenever if I eat anything or drink anything, I find myself that I need to go to the loo, because my tummy can't tolerate that any further. So, so this is like in the the past decade, we know that people you were prescribing or taking in certain countries, for instance, antibiotic, is really abused and used too much for whatever the reasons. Despite nowadays, they started to raise awareness about the non-use of antibiotic, because if you use it too much without a need, of course, this will lead to resistance in the future when you need it the most. And it will alter the bacteria balance in the gut, which might influence, of course, cancer, which can cause, of course, lifelong effect on the digestive tract. So moving forward, prevention is better than cure. So what we can do in regard that we need to focus on a healthy lifestyle. We need to try to minimize the weight to the acceptable level, so better to be less than BMI 25. And we need to eat balanced diet that's rich in fruit, vegetable, whole grain, and keep physically active to lower all sorts of cancer, generally speaking. Of course, tobacco, smoking, alcohol, it's another proven thing that can cause cancer. So if we minimize or avoid them, it's a proven strategy to overall health. So there is a call for action to raise awareness, to understand and combat this bustle, because it's a new thing, and studies have shown that appendix cancer is on the rise, and we need to be vigilant and think about any vague symptom, and especially if traced within the age group that I just stated, 30 and 40, or even younger, and to be vigilant and think thoroughly and try to exclude what might be the cause for those presenting symptoms. So by that, I hope that I covered the points which I wanted to tell and brief about, and which I read recently. And let me know if you have any comment or if you come across something like this, and I will see you on another podcast. Thank you.